He told her she wasn't enough. A Korean billionaire. A wife he humiliated in front of the world. A baby he never wanted. She left with nothing. Came back with everything. 2 years later, a little girl appears. With his face, his blood, and a secret that could destroy his empire. But some truths don't just ruin fortunes. They rewrite destinies. This is not a story about forgiveness. This is a story about power, pride, and the child who became the key to both. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Hit that button and be part of something you won't find anywhere else. He didn't love her. He married her because his grandfather demanded it. Because the merger required a bride. Because tradition said a man of his status needed a wife who knew when to smile and when to disappear. And she had been perfect at both, until she got pregnant. Kang Min-ho was 27 years old and controlled half of Seoul's financial district. His name opened doors. His silence closed them. He had never raised his voice to get what he wanted. He didn't need to. People bent before he even asked. But his wife? She had started asking questions. Why are you always late? Who is she? Do you even want this baby? The answer was no. He didn't want the baby. He didn't want her. He wanted the freedom he had before the wedding, before the promises, before the weight of someone else's expectations pressed into his chest every time he came home. And so, one night, he made sure she understood. It was her birthday. 7 months pregnant. She had made dinner, worn the dress he bought her in Paris. She smiled when he walked in. He didn't, because standing behind him was her. Lee So-yeon, the woman he had always wanted, the one his family would never approve of, the one who made him feel alive in ways his wife never could. His wife's smile died the moment she saw them together. Min-ho. Her voice was barely a whisper. He didn't look at her. He looked at So-yeon. And in front of his pregnant wife, he said the words that would shatter everything. She's better than you, in every way. The room fell silent. His wife stood frozen. Her hand moved to her belly, protective, instinctive. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. So-yeon smiled, and Min-ho kept talking. You were convenient. That's all you ever were. I don't love you. I never did. And I don't want this baby tying me to you for the rest of my life. His wife's legs gave out. She caught herself on the table. Her breath came shallow, fast. She looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time, she saw the truth. He was never going to love her. She turned and walked toward the stairs. Where do you think you're going? He called after her, cold, unbothered. She stopped, turned, and her voice, though broken, was steady. Somewhere you'll never find me. He laughed. Good. Don't come back. She didn't. By morning, she was gone. No note, no phone call. Just an empty closet and a wedding ring left on the nightstand. His mother called him a fool. His grandfather threatened to disown him. But Min-ho didn't care. He had So-yeon. He had his empire. He had everything he wanted. Or so he thought. 2 years passed. Min-ho's life moved forward. He expanded the company, made deals in New York, London, Singapore. So-yeon stayed by his side, beautiful and untouchable. The perfect companion for a man who never wanted complications. He never spoke of his ex-wife. He never thought of the baby, until the day he saw them. It was a private gallery in Manhattan. Exclusive. Invitation only. Min-ho was there for business, a weapons dealer masquerading as an art collector. He was good at these things. Charm, strategy, control. He was mid-conversation when he felt it. A shift in the air. He turned. And there she was. His ex-wife. She looked different, stronger. Her hair was longer, her posture straighter. She wore a black dress that didn't apologize for existing. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't small. She was radiant. And beside her, Holding her hand was a little girl, maybe 2 years old. Dark curls, wide brown eyes, skin the warm shade of her mother's, but features unmistakably familiar. Minho's heart stopped. The child looked exactly like him. Same sharp jawline, same intense gaze, same small nose. It was like looking into a mirror from 25 years ago. His ex-wife saw him. Their eyes met across the room. She didn't run, didn't flinch. She simply picked up her daughter, whispered something in her ear, and turned to leave. But Minho was already moving. He crossed the gallery in seconds, his bodyguards trailing behind. He caught her arm just as she reached the exit. Wait. She stopped, slowly turned. Her expression was unreadable. Minho. Her voice was different, too. No fear, no hesitation. He looked down at the little girl in her arms. The child stared back at him, curious, unafraid. Is she mine? His voice was barely a whisper. His ex-wife's lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. Does it matter? Yes. She adjusted the child on her hip, looked him straight in the eye. You told me not to come back, so I didn't. I built a life. She has everything she needs. That's not what I asked. She leaned in, close enough that only he could hear. She's not yours, Minho. You made sure of that 2 years ago. And before he could respond, she walked out, leaving him standing there, staring at a child who looked exactly like him, knowing, deep in his bones, that she was lying. He couldn't stop thinking about her. The child. Those eyes. That face. Minho tried to focus on work. He had a merger to close, a rival faction in Seoul, trying to edge into his territory. Soyeon planning their engagement party. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. The little girl. His daughter. Because she was his. He knew it. He felt it. And if she was his, then everything he thought he had control over was a lie. He sent someone to follow them. It didn't take long. His ex-wife, Amara, was living in Brooklyn, a modest brownstone. She worked as a consultant for an NGO. Quiet life, no scandal, no drama. But the reports his investigator brought back made his blood run cold. The child's name was Isla Kang. She had his last name, and according to the birth certificate, she was born 8 months after Amara left, which meant she had been pregnant when he threw her out. Minho felt something twist in his chest, something he hadn't felt in years. Guilt. He tried to ignore it. But then the investigator handed him a photo. Isla, smiling, playing in a park. Her little hand wrapped around Amara's finger. She looked happy. She looked loved. And Minho realized, with a clarity that burned, that he had thrown away the only thing that had ever been real in his life. He showed up at Amara's door 3 days later. No warning. No phone call. Just him. Standing on her doorstep at 7 in the morning. She opened the door in a robe, hair tied up, coffee mug in hand. When she saw him, her expression didn't change. Go away, Minho. I need to talk to you. No, you don't. She tried to close the door. He stopped it with his hand. She's mine, isn't she? Amara's jaw tightened. You don't get to ask that. I'm asking anyway. For a long moment, they just stared at each other. Then, from somewhere inside the house, a small voice called out, Mama? Amara's eyes softened. She turned, calling back gently. I'm coming, baby. When she looked back at Minho, her voice was ice. You walked away. You don't get to walk back in. I made a mistake. She laughed, bitter, sharp. A mistake? You told me I wasn't enough. You brought another woman into our home. You said you didn't want our baby. I was wrong. Too late. Amara, you don't get to hurt us twice. And this time, when she closed the door, he let her. But Minho didn't leave. He stayed in New York, rented a penthouse overlooking Central Park, canceled meetings, ignored Soyeon's calls. He started watching them. Not in person. He wasn't that reckless. But through his people. Reports, photos, videos. He learned Isla's favorite color was yellow, that she loved strawberries, that she called Amara Mama in English and Umma in Korean, that she had his temper, his focus, his quiet intensity, and every piece of information felt like a knife, because he had missed it all. Her first steps, her first words, her first birthday. He had chosen pride over love, and now he was paying for it. 1 week later, Amara received a package. No return address, just a small box wrapped in black silk. Inside was a diamond bracelet, expensive, beautiful, and a note. "I want to meet her, please." Amara stared at it for a long time. Then she threw it in the trash. But that night when Isla was asleep, she pulled it back out, read the note again. And for the first time in 2 years, she let herself wonder, what if? Minho didn't give up. He sent flowers, toys, books, all returned. He tried showing up at the park where Amara took Isla. She saw him and left immediately. He sent a lawyer with a custody proposal. She burned it. But then one night, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Stop." It was Amara. Her voice was tired, worn, but firm. "Stop sending things. Stop following us. Just stop." "I can't. You have to. She's my daughter." There was a long silence. Then quietly, "She doesn't know that." Minho's chest tightened. "What?" "She thinks her father is dead. I told her you died before she was born." It was easier than explaining why you didn't want her. He felt the words like a physical blow. "Amara, you don't get to be angry, Minho. You chose this. I want to fix it. You can't. Let me try." Another silence. Then, "There's something you need to know first." His pulse quickened. "What?" "Not over the phone. Meet me tomorrow." "Alone." "Where?" "The same gallery. 8 p.m. And she hung up. Minho arrived early. The gallery was empty, closed for a private event. He waited in the same spot where he first saw Isla. At exactly 8 p.m., Amara walked in. She wasn't alone. Behind her was a man, tall, African, mid-30s, well-dressed. Minho's jaw clenched. "Who's he?" "A friend," Amara said calmly. "And a witness, because I don't trust you." "Fair." She gestured to a bench. They sat. Minho looked at her. Really looked. She was different, stronger. But there was something in her eyes, something heavy. "What is it?" he asked quietly. "What do I need to know?" Amara took a breath. "Isla isn't just your daughter, Minho." He frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means she carries something in her blood. Something your family has been hiding for 3 generations. His blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" Amara leaned forward. "Your grandfather didn't just build an empire, Minho. He built it on stolen land. Stolen lives. And Isla, your daughter, is the biological proof." Minho's world tilted. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Amara pulled out a folder, slid it across the table. "DNA results. Historical records. Your grandfather had an affair with a woman from Kenya in the 1960s. She had a son. Your father's half-brother. He was erased from the family tree. But his bloodline didn't disappear." Minho stared at the documents. "And Isla is the direct descendant of the man your family tried to erase." He couldn't breathe. "If this gets out, your empire collapses. Your family's reputation is destroyed, and every rival you've ever made will use it to bury you." Minho looked up at her. "Why are you telling me this?" Amara's eyes softened. "Because she's still your daughter, and she deserves to know the truth. But if you want to be in her life, You're going to have to choose, Minho. Choose what? The empire you built on lies, or the family you destroyed for pride? And for the first time in his life, Kang Minho didn't have an answer. Minho didn't sleep that night. He sat in his penthouse, the folder Amara had given him spread across the glass table. DNA reports, birth certificates, photographs yellowed with age, letters written in his grandfather's handwriting. All of it proof. Proof that the Kang Empire, the dynasty his family had built over 3 generations, was founded on a lie. His grandfather, Kang Jiwoo, had been a nobody in the 1960s, a low-level businessman with big dreams and no capital. Then he met her, a Kenyan woman named Asha. She was in Seoul studying medicine. Beautiful, intelligent, from a wealthy family. They had an affair. She got pregnant, and Kang Jiwoo made a choice. He married a Korean woman from a powerful family, used her family's money to buy land, build factories, expand. And when Asha came to him with their son, a boy named Samuel, he paid her to disappear. She took the money. She went back to Kenya. And she raised Samuel alone. Samuel grew up, had children, grandchildren. One of those grandchildren was Amara's father, which meant Amara wasn't just some woman Minho had married for convenience. She was family. Distant, complicated, but family. And Isla? Isla was the living proof that the Kang bloodline wasn't pure, that the empire was built on stolen opportunity, that everything his family had taught him about legacy and honor was a carefully constructed fiction. If this information went public, it would destroy them. Rival companies would pounce. Investors would pull out. The media would tear them apart. His grandfather's name, the name Minho had spent his entire life protecting, would become a joke. But if he buried it, if he kept Amara quiet, kept Isla hidden, pretended none of this existed, he could keep everything. The empire, the power, the control. All he had to do was walk away. Again. He showed up at Amara's door at dawn. She opened it slowly, still in pajamas, eyes tired. "I didn't think you'd come back," she said quietly. "I need to ask you something." She stepped aside. Let him in. The apartment was small but warm, colorful. Isla's toys were scattered across the floor. Drawings taped to the walls, a life built from nothing. Amara poured 2 cups of coffee, handed him one. They sat across from each other at a small kitchen table. "What do you want to ask?" she said. Minho stared into his cup. "Why didn't you tell me? When you found out about the connection? About Samuel? About everything?" Amara took a slow sip. "Because it wasn't about you. It was about her. She's my daughter. She's my daughter. You gave up that right 2 years ago." He flinched. She wasn't wrong. "But you're telling me now," he pressed. "Why?" Amara set down her cup, looked him straight in the eye. "Because Isla is going to grow up asking questions about who she is, where she comes from. And I won't lie to her. Even if the truth destroys my family, your family destroyed itself, Minho. I'm just holding the match." Silence, heavy, crushing. Then, from down the hallway, a small voice called out, "Mama?" Amara's expression softened immediately. She stood. "Stay here." She disappeared into the bedroom. Minho heard soft murmurs, a child's laugh, the sound of tiny feet padding across the floor. And then Amara returned, with Isla. The little girl was in pink pajamas, curls wild from sleep. She clutched a stuffed giraffe in one hand and rubbed her eyes with the other. When she saw Minho, she stopped, stared, then looked up at her mother. "Who's that?" Amara knelt down, brushed a curl from Isla's face. "This is an old friend, baby." Isla tilted her head, studied Minho with those sharp, familiar eyes. "He looks sad." Amara's breath caught. Minho's chest tightened. The child walked forward. Slowly. Carefully. Like she was approaching something fragile. She stopped in front of him. Why are you sad? Minho didn't know what to say. He had faced down CEOs, politicians, criminals. He had negotiated billion-dollar deals without blinking. But a 2-year-old's question broke him. His voice cracked. I lost something very important. Isla blinked. What did you lose? He looked at Amara. She was watching him. Tears in her eyes. He looked back at Isla. I lost time. The little girl frowned. Then, with the logic only a child could have, she reached out and patted his hand. It's okay. You can find it again. And something inside Minho shattered. After Isla went back to bed, Amara and Minho sat in silence. Finally, he spoke. I don't want the Empire. Yeah, she looked at him, surprised. What? I don't want it. Not if it means losing this. Minho, I spent my whole life protecting a legacy that was built on lies. I married you because I was told to. I pushed you away because I thought I knew what I wanted. He looked at her, really looked. But I was wrong. About everything. Amara's voice was careful. What are you saying? I'm saying I choose her. I choose you. I choose the truth. You'd give up your empire? Your family name? I'd burn it all down if it meant I got to be her father. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You can't just say that and expect it to fix everything. I know. You hurt me, Minho. You humiliated me. You threw me away like I was nothing. I know. And you think one conversation changes that? No. He leaned forward. But I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance. She shook her head. I don't know if I can trust you. Then let me prove it. How? He reached into his jacket, pulled out a legal document, slid it across the table. What is this? She asked. A transfer of assets. Half of my shares in the company, in Ila's name. Managed by you until she's 18. Amara stared at him. You're insane. No, I'm finally thinking clearly. Your family will destroy you. Let them try. She picked up the document. Read it. Once. Twice. Then looked at him like she was seeing him for the first time. Why now? Because I looked at my daughter and realized I don't want her to inherit my mistakes. I want her to inherit my redemption. Amara's hands trembled. This doesn't fix what you did. I know. It doesn't make us a family. I know. But it's a start. He nodded. It's a start. Minho's decision didn't go unnoticed. Within 48 hours, his family knew. His mother called him 17 times. His grandfather summoned him to Seoul. Soyeon showed up at his penthouse in tears, demanding to know what was happening. And Minho told them all the same thing. I'm out. He wasn't walking away completely. He'd still sit on the board, still hold advisory power. But the day-to-day control, the ruthless decisions, the empire building at any cost, he was done. His family didn't take it well. His mother accused him of dishonoring their name. His grandfather threatened to disown him. Soyeon called him weak. But Minho didn't care. Because for the first time in his life, he was choosing something that mattered. Amara didn't make it easy. She didn't fall into his arms, didn't forgive him overnight. She let him visit Isla. Supervised. 30 minutes at a time. At first, Isla was shy. Quiet. She didn't know what to make of this man who kept showing up with toys and books and a sadness in his eyes. But slowly she warmed up. She showed him her drawings, told him about her favorite cartoons, let him read her bedtime stories. And Minho, the man who had controlled boardrooms and commanded empires, sat on the floor of a tiny Brooklyn apartment and learned what it meant to be small again, to be patient, to earn love instead of demand it. But peace didn't last. 3 weeks after Minho transferred the assets, A lawyer appeared at Amara's door. Not one of Minho's. One of his grandfather's. The man was polite, professional, cold. He handed Amara an envelope. "What is this?" she asked. "A legal notice. Mr. Kang Ji-woo is contesting the asset transfer. He's also filing for custody of the child." Amara's blood ran cold. On what grounds? Unfit living conditions, unstable parental environment, and evidence that you coerced his grandson into signing away his birthright. That's insane. The lawyer smiled thinly. "The hearing is in 2 weeks. I suggest you get a lawyer." And he left. Amara called Minho immediately. He arrived within the hour. She shoved the notice into his chest. "Your grandfather is trying to take her." Minho scanned the document. His jaw tightened. He won't win. He's Kang Ji-woo. He always wins. Not this time. Minho, he has infinite resources. Lawyers. Judges in his pocket. What do we have? He looked at her. The truth. She laughed bitterly. The truth? The truth will destroy your family. It'll destroy you. I don't care. You should. Why? Because once you go public with this, there's no going back. Your name, your legacy, everything you've ever known, gone. He stepped closer. Do you think I care about my legacy more than I care about my daughter? 2 months ago you did. 2 months ago I was an idiot. She searched his face. If we do this, Minho, we go to war. With your family. With the media. With everyone. Then we go to war. They hired the best lawyer money could buy, a woman named Rebecca Osei. Ghanaian, brilliant, ruthless. She listened to their story, reviewed the documents, and smiled. This is the case of a lifetime. Can we win? Amara asked. Win? Honey, we're going to make history. The custody hearing became a media circus. Kang Ji-woo's team painted Amara as a gold digger, a manipulator, a woman who seduced Minho, got pregnant, and disappeared only to return when it was convenient. They called character witnesses, showed financial records, implied she was unfit. But Rebecca was ready. She brought in the DNA reports, the historical records, the letters proving Kang Ji-woo had erased Samuel from the family tree. And then she did something no one expected. She put Minho on the stand. Mr. Kang, Rebecca began. Do you love your daughter? Yes. Do you believe Ms. Amara is a good mother? The best. And do you believe your grandfather has Isla's best interests at heart? Minho looked directly at his grandfather. No, I believe he wants to control her. Like he's controlled everything else in his life. The courtroom erupted. Kang Ji-woo's face turned red. But Minho kept talking. My family built an empire on lies, on stolen lives, and I won't let them do the same to my daughter. Rebecca smiled. No further questions. The judge took 3 days to deliberate. When the verdict came, the courtroom was packed. Amara sat beside Minho, hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white. The judge entered. Everyone stood. And then, in a calm, measured voice, the judge spoke. Custody is awarded to Ms. Amara, full and sole. Mr. Kang Minho is granted visitation rights, pending successful completion of a parental fitness program. Mr. Kang Ji-woo's petition is denied. Amara's knees buckled. Minho caught her. And for the first time in 2 years, she let herself cry in his arms. The fallout was immediate. Kang Ji-woo disowned Minho publicly. The announcement came through a press release at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. Cold, clinical, final. Kang Minho is no longer affiliated with Kang Industries or the Kang family. His actions have brought dishonor to our name and betrayed the legacy built over 3 generations. Effective immediately, all ties are severed. He is no longer recognized as an heir, a board member, or a representative of this family. The company stocks dropped 12% in a single day. Rival corporations circled like sharks, smelling blood in the water. The media had a field day. Headlines screamed across every platform. Billionaire heir chooses love over empire. Kang dynasty crumbles as scandal rocks Seoul. The fall of a prince. Minho Kang's shocking betrayal. And Soyeon? She gave an interview to every major outlet that would listen, tearfully calling Minho a traitor, a fool, a man who threw away everything for some woman and a child that isn't even proven to be his. She cried on camera. Perfect makeup running just enough to look sympathetic but not ugly. The public ate it up. Half of them called Minho noble, a man who chose love over money. The other half called him insane, weak, a disgrace to his family name. But Minho didn't flinch. He didn't release a statement, didn't defend himself, didn't fight back. He just walked away. He sold his remaining shares in Kang Industries, liquidated assets, took what was rightfully his, and nothing more. He bought a house in Brooklyn, small, quiet, 3 bedrooms, a backyard with a swing set, and a vegetable garden that had been neglected by the previous owners, close to Amara and Isla. He started a new company, ethical investing, clean energy, technology for social impact, nothing like the empire he left behind. No weapons deals disguised as art collections. No bribes hidden in offshore accounts. No blood money financing wars in countries most people couldn't find on a map. Just honest work. He hired a small team. People who believed in what they were building. People who didn't care about his last name or his scandal. And slowly, painfully, he rebuilt. Not a dynasty. A life. Amara didn't make it easy. She kept boundaries, kept distance. Visitation was structured. 30 minutes became an hour. 1 day a week became 2. But she set rules. No gifts that cost more than $20. No showing up unannounced. No making promises he couldn't keep. And Minho followed every single one. He showed up on time. Every time. He brought coloring books instead of designer toys. He asked permission before taking Isla anywhere. And Amara watched. Watched how he sat on the floor with Isla, building towers out of blocks, letting her knock them down and laugh. Watched how he learned to braid her hair. Badly. The first few attempts were disasters. Lopsided, tangled, more knots than braids. Isla would sit patiently, wincing occasionally, but never complaining. "It's okay, Appa," she'd say. "You'll get better." Appa. The first time she called him that, Minho had to leave the room. He stood in Amara's hallway, hand over his mouth, tears streaming down his face. Amara found him there. She didn't say anything, just handed him a tissue. And for a moment, they stood there in silence. 2 people who had destroyed each other, and were slowly learning how to rebuild. Isla's 3rd birthday was the turning point. Minho showed up with a cake he'd made himself. He'd spent 6 hours in his kitchen the night before, watching YouTube tutorials, burning the first 2 attempts, nearly giving up. But he didn't. The final product was lopsided. The frosting was uneven. The candles were crooked. But it was chocolate, Isla's favorite, and decorated with little dinosaurs made from fondant that looked more like blobs than prehistoric creatures. Amara stared at it when he walked in. "You made this?" "I tried," Minho said sheepishly. "I know it's not—" "You made it?" Isla interrupted, eyes wide. "Yeah, for you." She threw her arms around his legs. "It's the best cake ever." It wasn't, but it was made with love, and that was enough. They sang happy birthday. Isla blew out the candles, made a wish, and when Amara cut into the cake, she found a note written in icing inside. "I'm sorry I wasn't here for the first 2. I'll never miss another one." Her eyes filled with tears. She looked at Minho. He was watching Isla, who was already covered in chocolate frosting, laughing with pure joy. And Amara felt something shift. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But the beginning of it. Months passed. Minho showed up for preschool plays, sat in the back, clapped too loud. Recorded everything on his phone, even though the quality was terrible. He came to doctor's appointments, took notes, asked questions. The pediatrician seemed surprised a father would even think to ask. He learned Isla's favorite songs, her favorite books, the exact way she liked her sandwiches cut, diagonal, crusts off, strawberry jam, but never grape. He wasn't perfect. He forgot to pack her snack one day. She cried because she was hungry and embarrassed in front of her classmates. He was late to pick her up once because of a client meeting that ran over. She was the last kid waiting, scared he wasn't coming. But he apologized. On his knees, looking her in the eye. I messed up, and I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. And it didn't. He set alarms, triple-checked schedules, cleared entire afternoons just to make sure he was never late again. And Amara watched him stumble, fail, try again. Watched him choose Isla, every single time. And something in her softened. 6 months after the trial, Minho knocked on Amara's door late one night. She opened it, surprised. She was in pajamas, hair tied up, glasses on. "It's almost 11, she said. "I know, I'm sorry. I needed to say something." She stepped aside. Let him in. They sat in the living room. Isla was asleep upstairs. The house was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of sirens outside. "What is it?" Amara asked. Minho took a breath. He'd rehearsed this in his head 100 times. But now, sitting here, the words felt stuck. "I know I don't deserve you," he finally said. "I know I hurt you in ways I'll never be able to fix. And I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not even asking you to love me." He looked at her. "I'm just asking you to let me keep trying." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "Minho, I want to be the man you thought you married. I want to be the father Isla deserves. And I want..." His voice broke. "I want to be someone you can trust again." She wiped her eyes. "You can't just erase the past." "I know. You can't just fix this with words." "I know. You humiliated me. You broke me. You made me feel like I was nothing." "I know." His voice was barely a whisper. "And I will carry that for the rest of my life." She looked at him, really looked, and saw something she hadn't seen before. Regret. Real, deep, consuming regret. "Then what are you asking for?" she said quietly. He reached out, slowly, carefully, took her hand. "Time. Just give me time." She looked down at their hands. His, hers, intertwined. She should pull away. She knew she should. But she didn't. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay? Time. You get time. But Minho? Yeah? If you hurt her again. If you make promises you don't keep. If you let her down the way you let me down. I won't." "You don't know that." "I do. Because I know what it cost me to lose you the first time. And I won't make that mistake again." She searched his face, and for the first time in 2 years, she believed him. "Okay," she said again. And they sat there, hands still intertwined. Not lovers, not yet, but not enemies anymore either. Just two people trying to build something new from the wreckage of what they destroyed. 2 years later. Isla was 5 years old. She was brilliant, fierce, kind. She loved dinosaurs and science and asking a million questions. Why is the sky blue? How do birds know where to go? If I plant a cookie, will a cookie tree grow? Why do people cry when they're happy? Can you love someone even if they hurt you? Minho answered every single one. Even when he didn't know. Especially when he didn't know. Because admitting, "I don't know, but let's find out together," became his favorite phrase. They went to the library together. Read books about the solar system, ocean creatures, how plants grow. And one day, while reading a book about forgiveness, Isla asked, Appa, did you and Mama ever fight? Minho looked at Amara, who was sitting across the room, pretending not to listen. Yeah, he said honestly. We did. Did you hurt her? His throat tightened. Yes. Did you say sorry? I did. But saying sorry doesn't always fix things. Ela frowned, thinking hard. Then what does? Minho glanced at Amara again. She was watching now. Showing up. Every day. Proving that you've changed. That you'll never hurt them like that again. Isla nodded seriously. I think you're doing a good job, Appa. And Minho had to look away before she saw him cry. Amara and Minho weren't married. They weren't even officially together. But they were partners, co-parents, friends. They had dinner together twice a week, took Isla to the park on Saturdays, celebrated holidays as a unit, and sometimes, late at night, when Isla was asleep and the world was quiet, they would sit on the couch and talk about the past, the future, the life they were building. One night, Amara asked, Do you regret it? Giving up the empire? Minho looked at her. Not for a second. Even though you lost everything? He smiled. I didn't lose everything. I lost an empire built on lies. But I gained something real. What? He looked toward the stairs, where Isla slept. A family. Amara's eyes softened. She had spent so long building walls, protecting herself, protecting Isla, but sitting here in this small living room with this man who had broken her and then spent years putting her back together piece by piece, she realized something. He had changed, not overnight, not with grand gestures or expensive gifts, but in the quiet, unglamorous work of showing up, of being present, of choosing love over pride, of learning to braid hair and bake lopsided cakes and answer impossible questions with patience. And for the first time in 3 years, she let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, they could be something again. She leaned over and kissed him. It was soft, gentle, tentative, but it was real. When she pulled back, Minho was staring at her like he'd just witnessed a miracle. What was that for? He whispered. She smiled. For choosing us. His eyes filled with tears. Can I? Not yet, she said gently, but maybe, someday. And that was enough. For now, that was enough. 3 years later. Isla was 8 years old. She knew the truth now. About her grandfather. About the empire. About the lies that built the Kang dynasty. Amara and Minho had told her together. Sat her down. Explained it simply. Honestly. Your great-grandfather did bad things, Minho said. He hurt people. He erased people. And for a long time, I thought that was what power meant. Being feared. Being in control. Hurting others before they could hurt you. But you don't think that anymore? Isla asked. No, because your mother showed me what real power is. Isla looked at Amara. What is it? Amara smiled. Choosing kindness when cruelty is easier. Choosing truth when lies are safer. Choosing love even when you're scared. Isla nodded seriously. I'm glad you chose us, Appa. And Minho's heart broke in the best way. The Kang Empire eventually collapsed. Kang Jiwoo's secrets came out one by one. A journalist dug into the family history, found Samuel's descendants in Kenya, interviewed them, published a documentary that went viral. The world learned the truth about Asha, about Samuel, about the erasure, about the stolen land and the blood money and the lies that held it all together. Investors fled, partners withdrew, stock prices plummeted. The company dissolved within 18 months. Kang Jiwoo died alone in a hospital room. No family, no visitors, just nurses who didn't know his name and didn't care about his legacy. His obituary was 3 paragraphs long. Most of it was about the scandal. And Minho felt nothing. No satisfaction, no grief, no vindication, just peace. Because he had built something better. A company that mattered. A life that mattered. And most importantly, a daughter who would never have to choose between power and love, because she would grow up knowing that love was power. 5 years later, Isla was 13. Smart, strong, confident. She wanted to be a scientist, maybe a doctor, maybe an engineer. She hadn't decided yet, but she knew one thing for certain. She would never build an empire on lies. One evening, she asked Minho a question. They were sitting on the porch of the Brooklyn house, watching the sunset. Amara was inside making dinner. Jollof rice, Isla's favorite. Appa, do you ever miss it? Being powerful? Minho looked at his daughter. At the girl who had his eyes, his determination, his fire. But also Amara's kindness, her strength, her grace. And he smiled. I am powerful, Isla. I just choose to use it differently now. She tilted her head. What do you mean? Power isn't about money, or control, or making people fear you. Then what is it? He looked toward the house, where Amara was humming softly, moving around the kitchen, cooking food from her mother's recipes, where a life built on honesty and hard work and second chances waited. Power is choosing love when hate is easier. It's choosing truth when lies are more convenient. It's choosing to show up even when you're scared. It's building something that lasts not because people fear it, but because they believe in it. Isla considered this, then grinned. I like that kind of power better. Me too. She hugged him, and Minho closed his eyes, thinking about the man he used to be. The man who had everything and felt empty. The man who threw away love for pride. The man who almost lost the only thing that mattered, but didn't. Because in the end, he had made the only choice that mattered. He chose love. He chose family. He chose redemption. And that was the greatest empire of all. 15 years later, Isla was 28. She had her doctorate in renewable energy engineering, was doing groundbreaking work on sustainable technologies for developing nations. She was brilliant, successful, kind. Everything Minho and Amara had hoped she would be, and more. She stood at a podium in Geneva, accepting an international humanitarian award. In the audience sat her parents, Minho and Amara, married now. Finally. It had taken time. Years. Therapy. Hard conversations. Forgiveness given in pieces, not all at once. But they had rebuilt what was broken. Slowly, carefully, with honesty and patience and love. Isla smiled at them from the stage, her voice steady and strong. I want to thank my parents, she said, who taught me that the greatest legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's who you choose to become. They showed me that empires built on fear will always crumble, but families built on truth will last forever. The audience applauded, and Minho reached for Amara's hand. She squeezed back, and they sat there, in a room full of strangers, but feeling like they had everything. Because they did. Not an empire, but a family, built on truth, built on love, built on the choice to be better, and that was worth more than all the power in the world.